This is MSI RTX 5090 Ventus card, which represents one of the cheapest RTX 5090 models at the moment. This card has no RGB and its cooler doesn't even have a vapor chamber whatsoever. So in short, we could say that this is bare minimum we can install on the RTX 5090. And before we jump to the benchmarks themselves, I just briefly want to show you how have I done this. deshroud mod. For the fans I have selected 3 Noctua fans because Noctuas are usually the best fans in their classes. The small fan is 80 by 80 NF812A PWM. Other 2 fans are NF812X25 G2s SX2PP with a slightly different offset between the units. So the deshroud process goes basically that we need to unscrew the 8 small screws at the back plate of this card, and after that we need to unplug 3 different PWM cables in order to disconnect this original shroud away from the card. After removing the original shroud, we can install the custom-made shroud, which includes 3 different parts actually. One of them is for the fans, obviously, then we have a cover to cover and hide the cables around the fans. And the third part is for the airflow, to guide the hot air away from the card rather to have it circulating around the graphics card all the time. This can improve temperature depending on your airflow in your case as well. In addition to this, we also need 3 PWM adapters in order to connect these fans straight to the graphics card. After the installation, I would say the card looked very complete, and at the first sight we might even think that this wasn't even made by one single person whatsoever. So very good job Saigon, and shout out to him for making this possible. In benchmarks, I'm comparing stock against the deshroud plus undervolt plus slightly overclock. Slight overclock means that VRAM is overclocked up to plus 1000 and the GPU is running at the 1.7 GHz with a voltage of 890 milliwatts. I wanted to replicate the common situation where many gamers are actually undervolting their RTX 5090s and also applying some overclock as well. In Cyberpunk 2077, the difference between the stock and deshroud plus undervolt plus overclock is about 10 degrees Celsius in terms of GPU's temperatures, and I would say that's a lot in my opinion, considering that how easy this mod was actually to install. Of course, we can gain some things by only undervolting our graphics card alone without actually touching the fans. But even in these results, we can notice that once you replace the fans themselves, you can get even lower temperatures and probably slightly lower noise levels as well. But we will get in the noise levels in a bit. In Alan Wake 2, which is known to be one of the heaviest PC games at the moment, I have also noticed that Alan Wake is generating a lot of heat on GPU, especially while running on the maximum settings. This is also the same story as with Cyberpunk. Stock against the deshroud plus undervolt plus overclock is about 10 degrees Celsius as well. With the VRAM temperature, the difference is not that big as with the GPU, but nevertheless I would say that definitely there is a difference whatsoever. And of course, even with this game we can do just an undervolt without a deshroud, which will definitely lower your temperature, as pretty much everyone already knows. But once again, once you replace those fans, you can definitely have lower temperatures after that. Looking at the Alan Wake deshroud mod results in terms of different RPM speeds, we can notice that this game on stock, meaning stock voltages as well obviously, that 30% of RPM is simply not enough in this game, which only tells us how much heat this game can actually cause on our GPU. Cranking up the RPM up to 40, we are getting some lower temperatures still on stock voltages, but the best result will probably be to do the undervolt and set the RPM somewhere between 30 and 40. I would say the sweet spot would be probably around 40. Of course, if you want the best temps, then running these fans at the 70% speed, which is loud on some degree, but nothing crazy in my opinion. You can run this game up to 63 degrees Celsius, which is crazy difference compared to the 81. at 30%. In terms of acoustics, we can compare stock cooler against the deshroud, and already at this point we can notice why these Noctua fans are that famous. And of course it's a little bit unfair to compare 3400 RPM against the 1500, but nevertheless I would say that even at the same RPM speeds, the Noctuas are definitely standing out here. And as previously mentioned, that sweet spot being somewhere between the 30% and maybe 50% RPM, I would say that this card running on 30 up to 35 decibels is totally fine, considering that with the stock cooler we are hitting almost 40 decibels and still having weaker temperatures whatsoever. So definitely worth doing in case you're after better temperatures and also better noise levels. I'll let you listen to the sound samples of these fans so you can hear them for yourself. Out of my curiosity, I also wanted to test the middle fan in pull position, which should also work as a reverse fan, and unfortunately that experiment didn't went well because the temperatures are simply worse rather than having all three fans in push position. I'm not entirely sure would a bigger middle fan make a difference whatsoever, but maybe that's a topic for another video. Hopefully this video has been informative to you. My name is Leo and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.